So today's video is one more look at some challenging versions of the chain rule. First one shouldn't be too bad. Our outer is the thing being raised to the 10th. Our inner is the 1 minus x squared, so we'll pull the 10 out front. We'll have 1 minus x squared raised to the 9th, and now we'll have to multiply by the derivative of the inside, which is negative 2x, because it was a minus x squared. Now, you can just leave it right like that. If you wanted to neaten it up, you could write it as negative 20x times 1 minus x squared, all raised to the 9th. Next one, we've got 1 over t to the 4th plus 1 all cubed. I would suggest starting out rewriting that as t to the 4th plus 1 all to the negative 3. Your outer function is the thing being raised to the negative 3. Your inner is the t to the 4th plus 1. So the negative 3 will come out front. You'll have negative 3 times t to the 4th plus 1, keeping the inside the same. When we drop the exponent 1, it'll now be negative 4 times derivative of the inside, which would be 4t to the 3rd. You can leave this as is, or if you wanted to neaten up, 4t cubed times the negative 3 would give you negative 12t cubed, and this would become a t to the 4th plus 1, back in the denominator, all raised to the 4th. Now, if you had chosen to do quotient rule here, you could have done that as well, would have ended up with the same result. It's just much easier to use our power rule rather than the quotient rule. So a case we've seen a couple times, a product rule that also involves chain rule. So we'll do derivative of our first part. So we'll have 5 out front, 1 plus 4x now raised to the 4th, times the derivative of the inside, which is just 4. Then we'll multiply by regular of the second part, so 3 plus x minus x squared, all raised to the 8th. Plus, because it's product rule, we'll have regular of the first part now, 1 plus 4x, all raised to the 5th, times derivative of our second part. So we'll bring the 8 out front, 3 plus x minus x squared, all raised to the 7th now, times derivative of the inside, which would be 1 minus 2x. And again, I would suggest just leave it as is. Really, the only thing we could neaten up if we wanted, we could put the 4 times 5 out front on the left part to make 20, and you can put the 8 out front on the right part. So this one's going to be a little different. One thing that's different that we have an inside function just written as f of x. And then once we take our derivative, we are going to actually find an actual value of that derivative. Because they tell us the function f at 1 should equal 7, the derivative of f at 1 should equal 4, and the derivative at h at 1 is what we're going to find. So first off, let's rewrite h of x as 4 plus 3 f of x all to the 1/2. This will allow us to do power rule. When we do power rule, we'll have to do a chain rule as well. So h prime of x will equal 1/2 times 4 plus 3f of x to the negative 1/2. So that's outside's derivative, keeping the inside the same, times derivative of the inside. Well, derivative of 4 is 0. Derivative of 3f of x would be 3 times f prime of x. And now we want to find h prime of 1. So what that means is anywhere we have an x, we'll just replace with a 1. And we'll now replace f of 1 and f prime of 1 with what they told us they were equal to in the question. So we'll have 1/2 times 4 plus 3 times 7, negative 1/2, times 3 times 4. And when we neaten this up, this is really 1/2 times. Inside that parentheses, we'll have 21 from the 3 times 7 plus 4 to give us 25. And this will all be in a square root in the bottom, times 12. Well, this is now 1/2 times 1/5 times 12, which is equal to 12 over 10, which is equal to 6/5. So that means h prime of 1 in the end is just equal to 6/5. And we'll finish off the video with one of our most challenging ones yet, a triple chain rule. Our outermost thing is being raised to the 33rd. Our next outermost is the sine, then the cos, and then our quadratic on the inside. So when we do the derivative, we'll do our outermost derivative rule, keeping the inside the same. That means we'll bring the 33 out front, keeping the whole inside the same. Now raised to the 32nd. So we've done our outermost derivative. Now, because of chain rule, we have to do the derivative of the inside. Well, the first inside part is the sine. So we've got to do derivative of a sine, keeping the rest of the inside the same. So derivative of sine is cos, keeping the rest the same. Well, now we got to do the derivative of this inside, the cos x squared plus 4x plus 5. So we're still multiplying, but I'll bring it down here. Derivative of this part, well, we've got to do the derivative of cos, which is a negative sine. We'll keep the inside the same. And now we've got to do the derivative of the polynomial, which will be 2x plus 4. So we had chain rule 3 times there, which is one of the most complicated ones that we have seen. That's all for today's video. We'll see you next class period.